No, you guys can talk about it. I'm gonna look at this NBA game because the Warriors lost and now they're down 3-1. And
Are you serious? Ah,
Fuck, dude.
damn. So they got to do 3 in a row.
there's no way. Now you get
There's
Thunder.
no way.
Welcome to the NBA Hangtime Podcast.
The spoiler
Podcast
cast for the
within
NBA
podcast.
game.
Anyways, what do you think? What about that fight? The last boss? I haven't
go
played
to
the
the
other
beginning
Uncharted's. I haven't played the other Uncharted's, but yeah, boss fights, whatever.
I mean, if you play the other Uncharted, they're all tradition. Weirdly enough, they're basically all traditional boss fights or like QTE kind of things. Where
Yeah.
the first one we were fighting some suave Spanish guy. I can't remember. Is Navarro? Was that?
Yeah.
I swear it was Navarro. Was it not? I don't know. You have to look
It
into
sounds familiar.
Roman was the main guy, but Navarro was the guy you actually fought, I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
In the second one, you're fighting Lazarevich. Is that it?
Lazarevich, yeah.
Lazarevich. I like his name. And that was a fun fight. I actually found that to be fun. It was still like super tedious compared to the other gameplay of the game, what Uncharted is. With back then, it wasn't the best when it came to shooting controls, so it was interesting to see that. And then 3, you had that really cool Talbot fight. I actually really enjoyed that too. So I've always loved the cinematic element of the fights, but 2 was probably 2 and 1 were probably the worst. 3, they kind of leveled up their game. 4, what'd you guys think though? I thought again like it was the best, but still kind of unnecessary one that they've done. You know what I mean?
It was frustrating, like you said.
Yeah, I found it ruined the flow, right?
It did because like you couldn't. The timing was weird. You couldn't really understand where he was coming from, so it was just hard to learn this new mechanic kind of towards the end. It's not really a mechanic because everybody's that's playing Uncharted 4 has probably played a QTE session, some other game. But
I would say no though. I would say a lot of people haven't actually.
really, I would think they would. But
easy.
regardless, it didn't feel natural.
Yeah.
And
I also feel like it happened really quickly too. Because like you get to the ship, climb in, and all of a sudden boss fight.
Well, I mean, the ship's only so big at that point, you know. It's already crashing. The cave is. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. It's hard to see what else they could do besides a shootout, or
That was not in the game except for like a few subtle hints of it. That was sad.
yeah. But there's really I don't know what you would do instead. I mean, considering all the other Uncharted games, they've had weird boss fights. So what do you do?
Copyright strike. What would you do? You wouldn't. Yeah. Honestly, I prefer that over just like, hey, we escaped and like we're being shot at, because that's the other alternative. Is like they're on a boat on a raft or something like that. They're on the raft, and like he's shooting at them. And that's it. Like the rock crumbles on them. That'd be it's less climactic, no matter how much you complain about the gameplay. I just think, introducing a new system is always the worst thing you could possibly do in your last thing.
Yeah.
And Uncharted's not a gamey game. If that's the worst term to use, but it's not a mechanic-driven game really. It's parkour. There's some decent cover shooting combat.
Yeah,
it's more about exploratory stuff.
All the gameplay elements are really solid. That's,
right.
The climbing's really cool. I love the not so much the actual climbing, but the animation of the climbing.
Right. It was very detailed, very fluid, like as we talked about, where like you actually see Nate like reaching and like you know fingering for like ledges and stuff like that. Like it actually felt very natural.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, I don't feel like I don't know. Maybe we should just talk about the story instead.
Yeah, we should be reviewing the story right now, since the game itself, I mean, it's the best Uncharted gameplay-wise also, I would say, as well. Like,
definitely. I mean, it's only going to get better, and they learned a lot from The Last of Us, obviously, in terms of how the game feels, and it definitely translated into Uncharted.
Agreed.
But, I mean, okay, in terms of the story, because I think that's the biggest spoilers. You're not going to really spoil gameplay mechanics.
He climbs things, guys. It's spoilers.
Yeah, but what would you guys say are some of your favorite moments from the game?
I mean, right from the get-go, the beginning, that slap shot into, or I don't even know if it was directly the beginning, but when you go back to young Drake, we've talked about that a bit.
In a spaceship? In a spaceship,
that's
you don't have a PS4.
But when we go back and we just see his origins, and we get to see that little M on the side, you know it's the end because they're showing that kind of shit.
Right? Yeah.
You know it's the end because they're showing his last name. We're just getting this this interplay between him and younger Sam, and you get to see how he's learned. You can really tell there's a narrative development there of like he learned all of his stuff from his older brother, and he very much influenced him. He's the younger. It's the first time we really see Drake as like he's always this good guy, and later on in this, when he's older, he's a good guy. But you really see how like he was completely influenced by his brother at that time. Like that was his idol. And later
yeah, and I think it's really interesting to see the change between young and old Sam, because young Sam I really liked. Young Sam was a really cool guy.
Yeah,
you know,
he's nice,
super chill,
and all those good elements about like being an older brother, still has when he's older, but he's such a fucker when he's older. Straight up, I just there was some, you could tell there was something there about
absolutely,
about the whole story, but obviously it tricks you a little bit because you play through the escape.
That was really weird to me, because thinking back, and it's like, did we really just play like an imagination sequence?
That was one of the most brilliant. I would have to say this. It's probably as a narrative, like as all of us are writers here, including Daniel, right?
Yes.
I would say that like that was the best example of unreliable narration in a video game ever, if that makes sense. Like,
and it makes sense because he's such a fuckhead.
Yeah.
That you would play it, so of course you would believe it. If you're playing as Nathan Drake, you're gonna 100% believe your brother who almost died. And why wouldn't you believe what he says? So yeah, to make you fully believe that this is why he's trying to get the money, it makes sense. It makes sense to me. Some people might see it as a cop-out, like, oh, but he just lied. Well, shit, people lie all the time. So yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like this game, more than all the other Uncharted's, really tried to emulate what a realistic interaction would be between characters. In 3, they did it a lot too, and they started to talk about the conflicts and the internally of his obsession with treasure and stuff like that. And that's what Sam would become. And that's what's interesting for us as like as a gamer and like as the people playing the game, is that we know exactly where Sam is in his head. He's young Drake. He is the Drake we saw in Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 2 and towards the beginning of Uncharted 3.
Because he never got to experience that.
Yeah, he never, and and everyone wants to be Drake, and you realize that, like, Drake never wanted to be himself. Like, he got obsessed and too involved in that as well, and it almost cost his marriage or his proposal to Elena back in 3 with the ring and all. That was one of the most beautiful executions there as well, but here we get to see, almost as, like, Naughty Dog is Drake in a way of, like, we're done with this game series. We're done with this because...
It's matured.
You know, it's matured, exactly,
Yeah.
And I mean, it's interesting that you say you don't like Sam when he gets older, because you're right. I think he preserves a lot of those brotherhood tenets of like, oh, he's a big brother, he takes care of his
especially
brother,
because he steps in front of Nathan when he gets shot. He takes that bullet for him.
Yeah.
But I mean, he can't escape that lust he has for the money, for the treasure,
and more so for the glory. Yeah, it's not even like really the money. It feels like
And I mean, actually, a lot of it's for the legacy of their mother, which I think is a very powerful factor in trying to find this. And that's obviously what's been driving him ever since he was locked away in the prison. But again, it's still at the expense of his family, his brother and his brother's family.
Yeah, that is the other thing to think about too. Is that he was locked up in prison all that time that Nate thought he was dead.
Right?
Yeah, and so like. That, like, you know, when you if you ever like talk to someone who's like been to prison or anything like that, like they always have something that they think about like from the outside, and all he could think about probably was getting to Avery, you know, getting to that thing that him and Nate started. That was his sole motivator. Like that first thing, what's he gonna do when he gets out? Probably buy a cheeseburger and then go get that treasure.
But and you know what? I understood him from that point. I understand where his character's coming from because he wants that. But when you hear that he was out there for 2 years with Rafe and didn't contact his brother,
that was the other thing too. Yeah,
that is
actual fuck.
That is selfish as hell, and I completely understand where he's coming from. But it's just a bad move.
And you have to, and with that in mind, you have to know that since Rafe is completely aware of what Drake's doing, that he's aware that Drake had all these amazing adventures, and in a lot of ways, maybe he felt some competition. Like, how dare my brother live on and like have such a glorious life without me? And if anything, I would say that's one of the failures of this, is that they made it such a buddy like experience towards the end of like, oh, like now it's my turn to go find the lost city. I left a few of those for you. It's like, I wish they would have played it up more that like he was jealous of Drake, that Drake had all these adventures. They didn't really go into that. They made it to more like, hey, I just really need to get this treasure, dude. I really need to get it. Like, understand, I need to get this treasure. And like, it was too logical. You know what I mean? It wasn't.
Yeah, I think it would be a really fine line to walk because it could turn from jealousy to resentment. And I don't think he wouldn't resent his brother, but being jealous, I think, would be totally acceptable, totally expected.
And maybe it'd be a little too dramatic as well if they did try to find that, right?
Would it have been crazy if like they actually went the route of like that Malaysia job? What if he actually somehow set that up and that led into the whole treasure hunting thing?
That would
That'd
take a
be
lot of
interesting.
work, but that would.
But I
that
mean,
would
he
be
had 2
interesting.
years to plan it, and then all of a sudden he has this coworker that's telling him like, "Dude, this Malaysia job, this Malaysia job."
Yeah, the Malaysia job was almost set up in and of itself as a metaphor for Drake to like this temptation, just get
Exactly.
back into it, take that last shot of drugs or whatever it is, take that last.
Especially
Right.
because it's only, I mean, relatively lightly illegal.
Right.
Yeah,
we just
exactly.
didn't have paperwork filled out.
Yeah, we just didn't have the paperwork.
It's
We didn't
like
have any guns with
streaming
it.
like the latest episode of Game of Thrones. It's only slightly illegal because HBO doesn't care about it anymore.
Hold the door.
apparently. Oh god.
I'm gonna kill it.
Yeah.
Hold the door.
Fuck
Hold
you,
the
man.
door.
But-
Hold the door.
You didn't play Uncharted. Go home.
Hold the door. Hold the door.
In the background, you're just gonna do that the entire time. No. So where do we want to move on now? From what's
mean-
some more memorable moments for you? Like, because we're not gonna go from like A through all the way to like
No,
X
no.
and
We'll
Z,
just
all that
jump
Right.
stuff.
around because
Yeah.
it's too difficult to keep track. Honestly, one of my favorite moments, I think the most emotional moment, which I guess we'll just get into right away, is going back to the motel.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh man, that was
Because we're all playing the game, right? And we're all like,
Yeah.
okay, he's doing this. We know what this means. He's with his brother and Sully. Even Sully's like giving like hints here and there, like, dude, you're fucking messing up. You're messing up.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
then
love
like,
that.
and so it's in the back of everyone's head. And then you get to the motel and you're just like, crap, it's happening.
Yeah, and the way that that you're feeling it during the game is when you get those hints, when he gets the phone call or when he talks about his wife, you're thinking, shit.
It hurts
But then
you.
you get back to the fun. You get back to the fun part, and you forget about it, just like you would in real life when you do something wrong, and you're still having fun. You're like, oh, whatever. But the moment you get back to the motel, the moment he walked through the door, the angle that changed when it's focusing on him, it's like, I know she's gonna be there, because she's not
Right.
stupid. She's very smart, and she can see through his bullshit. And one little part I loved is, he says, "Oh, this is my brother," and she looks at her. She looks at Sam. It's like whatever.
What? Seriously?
But then she looks at Sully, and he's just like, then when she looks at Sully, and he says, "I'm sorry." There's
Yeah.
so much there. There's
Yeah.
so much nuances and so much unsaid, but it's like she knows Nathan's a hothead asshole for the most part, but Sully is supposed to be a little bit more responsible.
Yeah, and it really does feel like, in a lot of ways, that entire segment of her of him being busted and like essentially he was cheating on her with the treasure in a lot of ways. Like,
Yeah, no, it did feel like that. It actually
yeah,
did feel like
it
that.
felt like
Well, 'cause he's
he was
preferring-
getting busted, right?
Because
Yeah.
he's preferring this life to her at
Right.
the moment,
But
and
the
there's
thing
no
is,
reason to
he-
lie to her.
Yeah, and the thing is, he likes to play it off. He likes to fake that he's in control the entire time. He likes to delude himself with like, I'm helping my brother. I'm not going for the treasure. I don't want any lost riches or anything like that.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, I completely believe that he believes in that. But I think he later realizes towards the end, obviously, when we have one of the most probably realistic depictions of a relationship in a video game, like a married relationship ever. I would
Yeah.
have to say this is probably the most real. I've never seen anything in any other game depicted with this much of care and sensitivity towards like, look at the moments of silence they have between each other. I want to get to the. I'll comment more, but like, there's parts of this game where like that Jeep ride, that's one of my favorite parts.
Oh
Most
yeah,
memorable.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
The Jeep ride later on where they're talking about like everything, she keeps delaying it, and he's like, I can't stop delaying. Like he needs to keep talking. He can't do any clips anymore. He's not doing anything funny. He can't. The jokes. There's no music. Also, there's like barely any music until that one part when they're driving. There's
Yeah.
some very lovely music there. But like, if you notice, it seems like he's in so much pain and agony. He's trying to deflect it with jokes and trying to make her laugh, but she refuses to buy in.
Yeah,
it just
'cause she's
shows
not
how
there.
betrayed she feels.
As she
And,
should
like
feel.
you said,
And
cheated.
And the funny thing is, I think back, how do you think Elena would have reacted if he said, "Hey, my brother Sam is in trouble, and I need to do this"?
Exactly.
How do you honestly think she would have reacted?
Daniel, what do you think?
It's hard to say just because it all just comes back to the fact that he could have started the conversation that way.
Yeah.
Like the whole time. Like the minute he said he was going to the Malaysia job, that's how the conversation should have started. And whether or not it's exactly like what we're saying. Like they learned a lot from The Last of Us. That's a real relationship. You're not supposed to not say it for so
communicate.
long and then convey it and have it be okay. No, it doesn't work like that. And you can really see it, and that's the thing too. Like that whole part right after when Elena storms off, and Sully's like, "Dude, go after her," and he's just like, "No." And then he asks Sully to go take care of it, and it's like, fine, but you can just see it on Drake's face, like he's mad but he's mad at himself, and he just doesn't want to convey that because he's still trying to quote unquote help his brother, but he knows he messed up.
And he's trying
I
to
think
find
he
the blame
also
on something
realizes.
else.
Yeah.
I think he realizes at that moment what I was saying is that his delusions that he was only helping his brother are also not completely true. Like like I said, I still believe that that's what he thought, but I think he realized towards the end that he's still there's that spark alive inside of him that really makes him want that life. He wishes that he still had that life of riches and lost cities.
Right.
And ultimately, the entire theme of the game is resisting that, really.
Yeah, and I think it's.
over it.
I mean, just going back really quick into what I said.
Yeah.
I think she would have been super for helping his brother.
I think so too, yeah.
think she
I
would've-
do believe so too. Yeah.
If he would have been like, this is happening. What do we do? She's like, well, let's go. As in us two, let's go fix this. Let's go do something about it. It's your brother. And I don't know. He's just. It was a moment of stupidity that just blew out of proportion.
Like like that happens with relationships though, like a white
completely,
lie.
yeah.
Obviously for Drake, a white lie is something that like he murders thousands of people for.
Yeah,
But
a billion people. Yeah.
not quite a white lie, but yeah, it does anger me because again, even though it's a depiction of a real relationship like that, if he did have that conversation, the worst that could have happened was like some really either they can go really cheesy, which I don't think Naughty Dog would ever do that, or the Neil Druckmann or any of those guys for Australia, they wouldn't do that. Or B, they would have had to where like, hey, let's call the authorities, like let them handle it, kind of thing. And it's
Yeah.
like that's the only issue I'd find. Like that's his only logical escape, and obviously I think she still would have been cool with like a farther conversation with each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's more prevalent too as we go to the end of the the game when like they're like, as Billy pointed out, they bought the business, right? And you see Elena because like even she herself like by the end of it tells Drake like, hey, I know I got mad at you for it, and obviously you did mess up, but I kind of missed it too,
Yeah. But it's obviously it's the whole line aspect that was the biggest deal.
Yeah.
But I did like that ending for them. I really did.
Yeah.
I think it's a safe middle ground for keeping all that adventure, but not dying. 'Cause
Yeah.
you don't want to die.
Yeah, it's more of a moving on because from that point, especially at the point that they are in their relationship, they can't really do what they did before at all. They have to keep some sanity as far as like what a relationship actually is.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of
think
that
that-
relationship, what were you
go ahead.
or what are you gonna say, Hayden? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say something that I feel like it would probably place itself better towards the end, but this entire Uncharted 4 in general really did feel like a celebration for the studio itself of how much it's matured, and you really see that with the Crash Bandicoot, which is the coolest thing we need to get to as well. Is like there's a part in the game where where Elena's been playing her game console, which Drake hilariously, of course, does not
TV
play.
game thing.
Yeah.
A tiny little game thing, and it, of course, turns out to be a PlayStation. What was your guys' reactions, by the way, when that like PlayStation thing booted up? Did you guys guess it was gonna be Bandicoot? What did you guys think was gonna happen?
I was just like, oh man, this is crazy. For one thing, I would have thought it was Bandicoot if I had remembered it had score tally. I actually completely forgot it had a score tally.
That's true, actually, huh?
Because I think back to like the Wrath of Cortex and Crash Warped, and they only have like it's a collectathon. It's just stats and percentages. So I completely forgot when she was talking about like, oh yeah, I played this game and I had this high score. And she's like, and Drake's like, I can beat your high score. And then I kept thinking like, what game has a high score? I can't. What?
That one fighting game they made, I can't remember, but it was terrible. Oh, what
Oh,
was it
yeah.
called? Damn, that's gonna bother me. I can't remember anymore. It was like Monks. It was like Deadly Monks or something like that. It was some ridiculous
Yeah,
title.
something like that.
I can't remember.
I actually did guess that it was
Something
gonna be Crash
Warriors.
Bandicoot, but only seconds before that it started up.
Only
But
after
honest-
the fact, yeah.
Yeah, but
Right.
one thing I did love that I didn't expect to feel emotion from that part was the noises of the PlayStation.
Yeah.
The intro logos.
Yeah.
Hearing those again, and I was just like, oh my god, flooding all these memories
Nostalgia,
are flooding
right?
back. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was awesome.
Because that was my first PS1 game, was Crash Bandicoot, and I still have that disc to this day. It's like crap. It's destroyed. They're all ruined. But
Yeah.
Dude, I used
that's
to
what I was
go.
mentioning. What?
I was just gonna say I used to go to like Good Guys and like Circuit City when they were still around.
The hell's
And just
Good
be
Guys?
and I just
Ones are
be
the bad guys.
and I would be at that Sony demo just playing Crash Bandicoot because it was like, holy
Yeah.
crap, what is this? This is amazing.
Yeah.
Did anybody beat the high score?
Nope.
I was so pissed. I was 50 points away the second time.
Really?
Oh,
I was
guys,
50. I missed
beat
like
it.
I missed
Whoa,
like
really?
one or two
Holy
Wampa.
shit.
I was
Yeah.
so mad.
Yeah, the second time around, not the first time. When I played with Cassie,
Yeah,
I beat the high score that time because I just took it slow
She
and I collected
inherited
all
it from her mother.
the
Yeah,
Wampa.
right. I said the same thing too. Oh man.
What were you saying, Furman?
No, I just slowed down and I collected more Wampa fruit and I made sure not to fall and I collected
That
the
last fucking
extra life,
jump
yeah.
was the worst. That
The one
last
with the-
jump.
Yeah.
It's a test. It's a jump of fate.
Yeah, it really
Like you
is.
really have to.
It feels like they like when they originally made that level, that was like a glitch almost, or like that was a little too far. But they're like, you know what, keep that in. We want to challenge them like that. It really felt like that, yeah. But what I was saying though, tying that Crash Bandicoot scene in general into this is that we were mentioning how it seems like they're illustrating their narrative like abilities now. Like Crash never really had a story. Jack kind of like they added a voice to that story, added some real defined characters. And then with Uncharted, was like that's when they really blossomed as a studio into what they did now, and then Last of Us obviously as well. But as a medium, there's no probably better comparison between like an action game in the past to a action game today. Like Crash Bandicoot is an action game for all intents and purposes. You're running away from boulders, which is very much Indiana Jones inspired. Here we're playing an Indiana Jones game essentially. Like it just shows not only gameplay mechanic wise the evolution of everything, but from a story perspective. It just feels like, I don't know if you guys felt that too, that Uncharted 4 was a means of Naughty Dog to say like, hey guys, we've mastered everything we could do with Uncharted. Let us move on and mature. Look what everything we've accomplished. Let's venerate it. Let's honor it. But at the same time, we want to move on now because it feels
it's definitely a perfect swan song showcasing their ability to really tell a story and to wrap this story up.
Absolutely.
Which I think they did so fucking well.
Yeah, it's
I
interesting.
know a lot. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say I know a lot of I heard a lot of people saying I'm bummed nobody died, and I think
I was about to
that's
say like
No,
Billy
no.
complained. Billy, didn't you complain about the ending? How you didn't like that? Something like that.
No, I
Are you
thought
still
Sam
there?
was gonna die. I don't like Sam. So
yeah. But regardless, I people were saying that like, oh, I just expected somebody to die. Somebody who should have died. It's like I think it's such a cop out to kill somebody at the end for
Absolutely.
emotional. And I don't think I mean The Last of Us ending. You have to go back. You have to talk about that because it's the same
man.
people. Nobody died. Oh well, what's her face died?
Well, no.
Shit.
Okay,
A ton of
Joel
people
killed
died.
a ton of people at the end of the last one.
Whatever.
the
People
entire
that matter.
facility. Yeah, the
I'm
entire
not talking about
facility was-
statistics.
Death still played
But-
into the ending of that one. Yeah.
Yeah. But the idea that one of the main characters has to die for it to be an emotional game. Why does that always come up? That's everywhere, and I think it's such a cheap storytelling mechanic. I mean, obviously it has its place. Of course,
you're a
everywhere
bird.
does. But and okay, you have to look at the name of the title, A Thief's End, and everybody thought, oh yeah, well,
God, someone's gonna die. Yeah.
But I never expected anybody to die because I didn't think Naughty Dog would go such an easy route.
I think that was a clever title because it sets you up like, oh, it's the last game for Nathan Drake. It's called A Thief's End. Sully's hella old. Like either one of those guys are gonna die, but it's about really like it's about Avery. He is a thief, right? Like from what I understand, that's kind of
He's
what
a
the title
pirate,
was.
so yeah.
Yeah, that's
He's
what
his own
what's-
character and you learn from him like any other character, really. Yeah.
Exactly.
I
That
mean,
was kind
the,
of what
the
it was
portraits
about.
with the word thief written across them
Yes.
was really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his puzzles, you just learn through his puzzles that he's obviously he's a fucking maniac. He's a paranoid maniac.
Oh
He's
my god,
constantly
the catacombs, the
killing
tombs,
people. Yeah,
that was
with
insane.
the hands that stole from me, the hearts that,
that may have
hardened
been
to me.
one of
and
the
shit
most
like that.
frustrating parts of the game too. There's only like about 2 parts where I legitimately said, "What the fuck?" And I think it was the catacombs part. I was getting annoyed by not by the puzzles at all. Those were easy, like just navigating those tile sets for those
Yeah.
Lego tile
I
sets.
misstepped on one of them and it scared the shit out of me.
You know, I'm not gonna lie.
scary,
The
yeah.
same thing happened to me too, because it's so loud.
Yeah.
See, I knew that it was gonna blow up, but I wanted to test it just to see what it looked like, and it scared the shit out of me, even though I just intentionally like walked onto it too.
Because it happened faster than you expected.
Right.
Yeah.
You just
that was
immediately fall.
fun though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was super good.
Oh, that was really funny. The other interesting part, like as Billy was saying, like at Thief's End, I noticed that The first Uncharted was called Drake's Fortune, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And the third one was called Drake's Deception. But the second one was called Honor Among Thieves, and then the fourth one was called The Thief's End. I wonder if it was like trying to chronicle like the whole like, here's Drake, here's thievery, here's Drake. They go hand in hand. We need to see if this thievery continues or not.
That's actually a good point because what was it? Neil Druckmann and Neil, shut up. Neil and Bruce worked on Uncharted 2.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
And they're both 2 and 4 are like sort of their games. So that's, and they both have thief in the title. I don't know.
For me, the title played more into like a metaphor again, like with the.
Yeah.
I'm going too far into it, but not a metaphor in the
metaphor.
sense
That
of
makes
like.
sense.
Yeah,
it's a
no, it makes sense.
No, I meant like in the sense of like it's a thief's end, as in like Naughty Dog in and of itself. If you really think about the game that is Uncharted, it's pilfering a lot of ideas from a bunch of other genres, like Tomb Raider. Obviously, you could say that. I'm not saying it's stealing direct mechanics, but you could say from an idea perspective, it's pilfering the idea of like an adventure from Indiana Jones, from Tomb Raider for video games, of like going through tombs, stuff like that. In a lot of ways, it's a thief's end for them as a studio to be done again with Uncharted 2, like or Uncharted, like as a franchise. This is just the perfect swan song. We keep saying that, but like, I can't imagine ever again seeing Naughty Dog do anything in this universe.
And I'm okay with them, you know, like you said, pilfering ideas from all these other people, because there's that. I don't know. Yeah, there's that quote like, "Good artists borrow, great artists
They
steal."
remix it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's totally
Where they say
fine.
imitation is the best form of flattery.
And that's
They
why
say-
I wasn't. I didn't mean
Fuck
that
you
as
guys,
like,
imitation is suicide.
I didn't mean it as
I'm
like
a
the thing that
douchebag.
they're
Oh my
stealing
God.
stuff. Yeah,
What?
I
What was
didn't
that?
mean it that they were like stealing it as like.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
meant to
no,
kind of
we
like,
know,
oh, they're
yeah.
celebrating it. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
inspiration, yeah.
Right.
That makes
We
sense.
know. We know.
You know what I, you know what I
Were
mean?
you gonna stare me down through a webcam?
That's
Scary.
scary. That's really scary, actually. I'm
is.
glad I didn't zoom in on your face when you did it. Hey,
Yeah.
no, but so yeah, this is the last game Naughty Dog will do within the Uncharted universe,
Yep,
the
PS4.
Uncharted cinematic universe. Who do you think, and when will we see Uncharted again? Do you think?
Well, they're gonna
And
have
by
DLC.
who?
They're gonna have
Bend.
DLC.
No,
I
but
love
after Uncharted 4 stuff, which actually that's funny because they are making story DLC.
Yeah,
and
it's
they're bringing
cool.
and they're bringing co-op. So, what do you think? Is that going to take place during the epilogue?
You think it'll be Sam and
beforehand?
Sully?
That would be.
I
That
have,
would make
I have a
most
cool
sense.
prediction that I hope they do because this is the only place I want to see.
Oh,
this
I hope I know what you're saying. Go ahead.
For me, it has nothing to do with Cassie. I want it to be the story of the mom. I want to
Yes,
see all.
that's exactly
what, the
what I
fuck
want.
The mom was obviously super intelligent. She was going on explorations with her Sully. By the way, that girl was totally her Sully. That older lady was like that's the equivalent of Sully in her life.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like that was super cool. Like her patron essentially. But
Are you talking about Elena?
Sassy girl.
No. Drake's mother.
Drake's
Oh,
mother
Drake's
had
mother.
a. Remember when he's breaking into the mansion? If you watch the cutscenes, Billy, on your PS4, you get to see like how.
Watch it on my Vita.
I want to go back. We'll go back as a story element too. Like when they go back to the flashback and they show how they go into this Lara Croft-esque mansion and they find all these really cool things and they're like, who lives here? Like who could possibly live here? And of course, it's this old eccentric lady who is just in that brief moment has just as much character and like I just want to know more about her than Sully. Essentially, like
Yeah.
she has
Yeah,
so
no,
much
that was
history to
intense,
tell.
yeah.
she's an amazing character and it's intense. I feel like it was kind of cheap to make her die from a heart attack. I was like, what the hell? But at least they showed her so frail. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and if you look through the house, you see all the medications she's on.
Yeah,
you see
exactly.
How also you can tell she's just heartbroken from her family that she left because
Environmental storytelling in this game was upgraded beyond belief as well.
Uh-huh.
Like they bolstered their narrative technique there too.
Yeah.
And
It could have been
not
se-
just through notes either. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, it could have been seen like it sucks that she died, like especially in that fashion. But for me, it was more like she had, she worked with their mother,
Yes.
and like she said that she very much respected her, and they had conversations, basically like best friend status.
I think
sort
they're
of
best
deal.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that she was able to not only see her children, see what they are like, behaving and like seeming to want to do, and then to give them something to carry on that legacy. It was almost like she was fulfilled. Like then she could move on.
She had a thief's end. There you go.
I was gonna,
And honestly, this
Honestly, all these characters, they were thieves at one point. It seems like in some part of their life,
In some fashion.
what kind of
Yeah.
game? What is Naughty Dog trying to say about thievery and burglary and piracy?
GTA. They're trying to say that
Are
they're
they
the new
trying to
GTA.
Are they trying to, are they same people
Condone
should
it?
go out
You're gonna
there.
say that?
Yeah, you know, I was gonna say that, but you said it, so I didn't say it.
I didn't say it. I don't support that. I
You
don't
literally
condone-
said condone.
I don't condone fucking Billy taking over the pod. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, there's a lot of thieves. This is not a good. This is not a good example to set for young Cassie. You know?
Oh my God.
Mom, why do you have skeletons literally in your closet?
Well, it's
In,
funny that you
fuck
say
shit
that
up,
because they do
that's
hide
why.
it. They do hide
And
it.
Yeah, they do
Dad's-
hide it.
I love when she said, she's like, Dad's got a shotgun?
He's a murderer. He's murdered thousands.
It's so funny because, like, in her eyes, she just thinks her dad and mom, like, super boring, right? Like any other
Yeah.
teenager. They're like, these guys, like, my mom and dad are super lame. We just go on trips a lot, and Uncle Sully's crazy. But, like, you know, there's that.
You
And then,
get
like,
fun
she finds this, you know, crazy closet, and you're like, what the fuck? And, it's cool.
That's what Cassie said.
That's what
Yeah.
Cassie said. She's like, what the fuck?
The
What
fuck
the
is this?
What the fuck is this, dog? And the dog's like,
That's his name. It's Dog.
the dog's
This is
dog.
dog.
Was the
Not-
name? Was the dog named Victor?
Oh my god,
Yeah,
you perfect.
yeah. The
Was
dog
Okay,
it?
good.
Oh, I didn't
Victor.
catch that. That's so good.
I think it was.
Oh
Because
my
I think
God.
he says that he was gonna name the dog.
The
after
dog. Yeah.
That's so good. I never caught that. Wow, that's awesome.
But I mean, you have to you don't forget that Elena's killed a
Come on.
shitload of people too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
you know what?
man.
Oh, how badass is Elena?
Yes.
Dude, okay, you remember the part when she leaps across that gap, and he's
Yeah.
like, you know, good job pissing off a girl like that.
Yep.
She looked so fucking cool doing that. And two other parts that I thought were just so fucking cool about Elena. When you're hanging out with her, when you first meet up with her,
We're just
and the
hanging
first-
out with Elena, you
just
know, chilling out
you know,
in
yeah,
Cabo, getting
get
some
pregnant,
drinks,
have a baby.
having, playing some Crash Bandicoot.
When you first end up fighting some people with her, and you're just hanging on that beam, and there's just two guys shooting at you, she jumps out of fucking nowhere right onto one of those guys,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and just beats the shit out of him. And I don't know how it went with you guys, but it took me a while to get over there. So I shot the guy when I was hanging off the ledge a little bit, and she tackles him and slams his head into the fucking ground. And I was like, this girl is amazing. I am
is.
in love with her right now.
No, for some of the parts, I was actually doing like the hand-to-hand combats in combination with her, and I was like, "Holy crap!"
I didn't get any of that. What did she do?
No, it's just like it was like very light because there wasn't a lot of like that Sully or Sam moments where you were like going around places. But yeah, it was just very much like hit. I actually comboed with her. It felt awesome.
That's what I meant. Did she do a
Yeah,
cool
what are the
combo? 'Cause
combo
with
animations
Sam, with Sam, you got together and you slammed the guy down.
Yeah, but
which was cool.
It wasn't anything. I think I did do one instance of that, but it was more like she hit, so then I hit, but then she then
Okay.
hit again, and so then it set him up to basically Drake just finish it off. Like she was there. They're meant
yeah,
to be
she was-
together.
That and the other moment, which I thought was super cool, is the second elevator when you get the car up and she's stuck.
she's
She's
like-
getting shot.
Yeah.
So you're like, shit. I have to get around and save her. You get there, and the moment you get up to shoot at the guys, she drives the fucking jeep through them.
I remember that. That was great.
And she's like, "Hi." I love the
Yeah.
way they say hi to each other. By the way, their banter and just like, "Hey."
I also think
Cutest
that's one
thing
of the
ever.
most one of the most mature elements we talked about it earlier, like when they were not joking with each other, and like she was obviously pissed at him beyond belief, and
Yeah.
to the point of where they were like their marriage was almost. I never once thought that like she would divorce him, but I think she was definitely like ready to divorce him, like in a sense of like if you keep doing this, then we're separating for good at this time. Like
Yeah.
And I think that's
Toxic.
valid as hell too.
No,
Yeah.
for sure.
right.
Yeah, those little quiet moments were good because it was
Yeah.
sparsed out with obviously the fighting and all that stuff. But they were just doing it bit by bit by bit, and it was so heavy. It was very
Pacing-
heavy.
This entire game was just a masterclass in how to do video game pacing as well with the story, because I don't think there's one segment where I was bored or was like, this didn't need to be here. There was no filler whatsoever, but it was yet still a long story, and like they just hit on every single note of like fleshing out Sam as a character. How'd you guys feel about that in general? We haven't talked about that. How'd you feel about Sam's introduction as a new character to this series that's already had 3 games in it? Did you feel like it was natural? It made sense?
I think I made some comment about this last time we were doing like the Uncharted before spoiler cast.
Yeah. The
And-
pre-spoiler casts.
Before Uncharted
Yeah,
before,
pre-game.
but but I was just like, yeah, we're supposed to, in a sense, still be convinced that after 3 games where we got to know a lot about their lives, that he just has a brother that he never brings up, that somehow also interacted with Sully, and now all of a sudden it's like he has to go save his brother, and we're supposed to be emotionally invested in Drake's decision.
Yeah, it was a little hard to buy.
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, what you said, why wouldn't he have brought him up? They did touch upon that. They did touch upon it, and he talked about how painful it was for him.
Yeah, and that was his only excuse from a narrative angle. But I felt that was contrived as hell. That was contrived.
It almost, I believed him. I believed him. I believed Nolan North. Because no, I'm talking about he did a wonderful job acting this. His voice acting was really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, as part of the story, it fell a little flat. It was just hard to believe.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the only part of the story that was unbelievable for me.
Yeah,
because in a positive way.
Yeah, and the fact that Rafe was also never brought up too, because technically that had a lot to do with what happened.
I really thought I don't think he'd ever mention Rafe. Like I could totally see that at least.
He's got a lot of shit that's happened.
Yeah, he has so many fucking people that he's messed and had terrible deals with in this.
Yeah, but that's what I mean though. For them to because we get from Drake that he went to go actually still look for Avery's treasure afterwards.
Yeah,
like
he did.
and they didn't get affirmation of that, and we only find this out after they're talking about it. And so it's like, so they still had history. Yeah, they might have fallen off about it, but again, it just ties into the whole this thing happened with Sam. They had this epic prison break, and Sam didn't make it. So
it makes you curious. Obviously, Golden Abyss must have happened right after this, then really, or after the Rafe stuff, right? You'd have to imagine, in the timeline if Golden Abyss counts,
right?
It does.
I mean,
it's totally canon. I bet. You don't think so?
We don't know. I mean, and think about it like this: they made an Uncharted collection, and they didn't include it.
Well, that's a Vita game. I mean, they could port it up. But that's too much effort.
But nobody's gonna play it.
Hey, I'm gonna say right now, I think Golden Abyss is way better than Drake's Fortune in terms of just gameplay.
Probably. I
think.
heard it was good. I heard it was.
Yeah,
good.
but that's also unfair to say that we have a game that they made after 3 other games, and it's better than the original one they made.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, in terms of it deserves its respect as an Uncharted title. But anyway, going beyond that, should we talk about Rafe now specifically as a character? Because I would love to talk about him. Are we not ready to talk about him?
No, yeah, I think we're ready to talk about anything.
Mm-hmm.
But he was cool. I didn't think he was especially. His character was
cool.
really
It was dope.
His character was fleshed out. He felt like a character. He felt like a character. He did.
He looked like Ryan Gosling.
He looked like the Goss.
The Goss.
I think he does. I think he looks like.
I'm gonna Google him
right now. Go look him up.
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling.
To be fair, though, I was much more interested in Nadine.
We'll go to Nadine as well, but Rafe specifically. Here's why I actually really appreciate Rafe as a villain, because he is the definition of what the fans are in a parallel of Uncharted are in a lot of ways. Think about it.
Yeah.
He is the fans, because what we want to
Yeah.
be is Nathan Drake. We want to live his life. We want to live his glories, right?
Right.
And
You can
what
with
Rafe is he's a spoiled little kid. He's a guy that, like we mentioned, Billy mentioned a little bit earlier. He's an arrogant asshole who's been given all of his wealth through his parents, through foundations that he's already had
Privilege.
established for him. Privilege, exactly. So it's interesting to see this antithesis between him and Drake, who's gone from poverty, from being an orphan, to having all these riches in terms of experience in life that ultimately proved to have no financial benefit. And I think that's what makes him a great villain, is just how much of a parallel. The best villain is always in anything just a black version of your character, not an actual black character, but Black Link, for example, Dark Link. Is that's the coolest villain for me in terms of Zelda, for example. It's the antithesis of everything that makes your character. And that's why I appreciated Rafe. But as a character in and of himself, I don't know. Maybe he's too stereotypical, that rich, privileged kid.
A little bit. But I mean,
yeah.
I think he was done well in terms of voice acting, in terms of fleshing out who that character is. That character,
Right.
all those things you mentioned about him being rich, it was definitely there. And one cool thing I liked about him is that he didn't seem to come out of nowhere with his intentions. His intentions seemed true.
Yeah.
Just the whole idea of him being, rich and wanting the glory because he knows that he's been handed everything. He's very aware of that. I think that was really
He's bitter
cool.
about it.
He is bitter about being handed everything. Like he said, he's like, you hear him yell at the end. He's like, I've been handed everything on a silver platter, and he doesn't like that. He is
But I
so
think he's
jealous.
bitter about it in a way of he's bitter and doesn't realize how deluded he is, that how fucking privileged it sounds for him to say that he's bitter about not having
Yeah.
life-threatening
Yeah.
situation. Like he's an
No.
asshole.
Yeah,
He's
we
terrible in that.
we see this very much so in the beginning when the whole prison area,
Yeah.
Then they're like they make this deal and they're supposed to go out and he's like bartering with this guy, then just straight up stabs him. Like,
Yep.
it's like
yeah, holy shit.
yeah, that part was like, okay, he seems okay, and then he stabs him. I'm just like, holy crap, no, I don't
Yeah.
like this guy.
Yeah.
It's like he makes it very clear, like he's not a dude to mess around with. He wants to get that treasure, and he
Drake
wants it
seems
now.
like such a nice guy in this one, by the way. Like he's more of like a rough and tumble kind of guy in the trilogy earlier. I really feel
Right.
like in this one he's become more of the dad character. Like you could tell he's gonna
'Cause
become
he-
a dad
yeah,
later.
he's old.
He had
He's
that
just
dad
nice
bod.
the entire
The
dad
dad
bod.
You know, there's one thing. Hayden, how did it feel
Yeah.
going through that whole prison scene in the beginning and you couldn't understand what those guys were saying?
That is actually very interesting. I didn't even think about that for him.
Because Daniel, you understood.
Oh no, yeah.
I caught a few words. I mean, I caught like "Murto." They said that like they were to kill you or whatever. All this stuff.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I mean beyond
mean-
that, did you know like what were they saying? Like what kind
Oh,
of
they
things were
weren't saying nice things at all. These are
No, they
things
were-
you would
they
never
were
say
very
to your
mean.
mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean obviously I guess that, I meant like did they say things that like would have hinted towards a reveal later? Like I
No,
was just
no.
an idiot?
No, no,
they were
it was
just
literally
talking
just
shit.
them being jerks. Yeah.
Okay. Why
Like, they
was
were
he
saying that,
fighting
like-
them? Just to challenge him? Like, oh, let's have a fight? Just a prison brawl?
Yeah.
Say why? Okay.
But, like,
Dude, okay.
they
To be
were-
fair,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, to be fair, it's Nate. Like he's
Yeah.
gonna say something, it's gonna piss someone off. It usually
right.
does.
Yeah, but they were saying some shit like when he's walking through and they're all just yelling at him. One of them says like, "I have a knife with your name on it," stuff like that.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's scary.
yeah.
Did you guys
the
notice
act-
how go ahead.
I was just gonna say the Spanish was actually really good in it.
Yeah.
It didn't sound fake. It did not sound fake at all, and
did
the
not,
accents
by
were
any
really
means.
good.
All the
or
Uncharted
actors.
feel like they're globetrotting adventures, but this one more so. The variety of environments, I'm yet to like applaud Naughty Dog even more so. Not that they need any more applause. We're like the latest spoiler cast ever for this game at this point.
Yeah.
But I loved. What was your guys' favorite zone, by the way? Just I thought like Scotland was the coolest for me. I like the ghost cemetery.
Scotland was really cool.
Yeah.
Scotland was pretty dope. I will.
I
admit
think
that.
Drake looks great in that coat, that fur coat, whatever he was wearing.
I really did like Madagascar though.
Yeah? Did you?
That was. It's just.
It was a
It's
good
not
movie.
even. Yes, it was. But it wasn't even like all like the driving and everything. It was just like the scenery and everything was just so beautiful in
Oh,
comparison.
man,
like
this game was too good.
yeah, like we've seen it all. Like Drake's been in the Amazon. He's been in the snow, like the Tibetan mountains. He's been
Yeah.
in the desert. So it's like we get all these like lights, darks, colors, humid. Like
Oh, it
all
was
these
so pretty.
Yeah, and then you get to Africa, and just something about it is it feels like something you've never seen in an Uncharted. Somehow they pulled it off really well. Just it really spoke to the location, and I found myself like literally just standing there sometimes, just looking out. Like
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
be like,
I would definitely do that.
I'll be on top of a tower, and all of a sudden I'll be just like,
Photo mode.
you know what? Yeah, this
Yeah.
is actually really pretty.
I did that
Yeah,
a few
and-
times.
and-
I just stopped the game and took photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of that, like environment, you talked about this a little while ago, Hayden. The scene where you're with Elena and you're just driving up and there's the music.
Yeah, that's my favorite part. I think.
I think
in the
I
entire
like.
game,
I mean, I
actually.
always call those like snake eater moments because that's the first time
Yeah.
I remember really having a moment like that where you're taking a break from the game and just enjoying the scenery and the design. It was
Yeah.
so pretty and the music was just.
The music was
I didn't-
gorgeous.
I didn't want it to end for a while. I was just like, I'm fine doing this for like another hour. I really
Yeah.
was.
See, that's what's interesting about that entire segment of. And here's what I was worried about: is that phantom pain syndrome, or open world syndrome of this fucking generation had for quite a bit. And I think we're finally straying away from that. Was where storytelling suffers when it's an open world. It happened
Yeah.
with Batman, in my opinion. There's no argument of whether like there's a better, what's a better narrative. I think you can pull off. I'm not saying you can't pull off a really good narrative, and there's no quantification of what makes a better narrative than the other. But I think just for pacing and something like an Uncharted, a coherent linear narrative, you have to have a linear gameplay style, and this is the closest we've gotten to like having that good hybrid of both. The Madagascar area, right?
Yeah, because it was
12
a
towers.
section in the game. It wasn't
Right.
the game. It wasn't an open world game. It was a
And their
section.
conversations were fleshing enough about their character and having like enough developments where like every single developer should take note for how to do open world storytelling in terms of like having this type of game. Fallout, for example, you don't need to do that kind of thing in Fallout. That's about the environment, about learning. But
I mean, hell, if we had to compare, I still didn't even get to Africa in Metal Gear.
yeah,
Neither did
I
I.
did make it to Africa.
I didn't.
I did make it.
Yeah. So, and we, yeah.
And that's why I feel like Kojima in a lot of ways needs. I don't know. He doesn't need to learn. That's a terrible thing to say, especially us. But I think he just needs to retreat back and realize like that's
I was gonna say
where
reel
his
it back in
strengths
a
are.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very ambitious, and sometimes he doesn't hit his mark.
He needs to remember what Metal Gear actually was to us as fans growing up playing the series. And I feel like Naughty Dog did that really well, especially as we were talking earlier about the whole Cassie thing. She is playing Crash Bandicoot. We started off playing Uncharted. We played Crash Bandicoot with, Nate and Elena. That part was all adorable, especially all the little, smirks and, little faces that she was giving
Oh,
him.
the animation was so
Yeah.
good because of that.
Yeah,
The
but-
face she makes when she kind of just, looks around.
Yeah.
Like that. I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, I kind of fell in love with this girl in this episode. In this
Yeah.
game. She was, just because she was such a good character, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we...
Fuck shit up.
Yeah. But then we go back to Cassie and, Naughty Dog... Here they are in the future of what is Uncharted, and they're still remembering what Crash Bandicoot is. It's like what we were talking about with Resident Evil on the earlier. They went back to their roots and they remembered why people still love their games. They were earnestly fun, but they really did develop this story too, and they combined the two beautifully, in my opinion.
Right.
Speaking of the future, there was a poster in Cassie's room. I flipped my
last-
shit a little bit, and I don't know what it means. There's
Nothing,
one thing
it
I
means
missed.
nothing. Let's
No,
be real.
No, I missed one thing on that poster that I saw later on. It might be a comic book series.
It is
Because in the-
it is a part of a series, if I recall. Yeah.
No, because the old one that you guys are thinking of is American Dreams.
No, but this is a different one though that has nothing to do with Ellie, I think, right?
But Ellie's on that cover.
Well,
Right?
she has a gas mask on.
That's
So
definitely
you-
Ellie, though, right? You
It
have
looks
to
like
match
Ellie.
it. Yeah.
But in the bottom corner it says Dark Horse. It has the Dark Horse.
It actually has the
Comics
Dark
logo.
Horse logo. Yeah.
That's
So there
funny.
is that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't see that the first time, so I was just like, "What?"
That's what I thought you were gonna bring up the Savage Starlight stuff, that poster, but that was just,
Oh,
I think
yeah,
that's
that's
just
right.
another joke. Did you see
That
that,
was
too?
cool.
I think that's
Yeah.
just a joke. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone wants that Savage Starlight game. Still.
Yeah.
I think everyone secretly wants an open world, not open world, but a space game from them.
As Billy said, we can deal with the rockets and stuff as we
Yeah.
hit X repeatedly.
Oh God.
Yep.
Yeah.
Billy, what does this conversation sound like to you so far? Would you like
Like a re-
Uncharted?
It's a really good podcast,
Thank you. Huh? Maybe we should get into that business.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool because I don't play Uncharted, obviously, and I
you don't
just
really
like
play it
listening.
now?
You guys are no, obviously not. You guys spoiled everything for me. But basically,
It's still a game.
It's very
yeah, I'm not gonna play. Because those games aren't played for gameplay, right? They're played
No,
for
they're still
story,
fun to play.
and we
No,
just
it's
went
still
through
fun.
the entire story. So I don't think I'm gonna do it ever. Plus, there's just so many games out there that I'd rather play. It is interesting.
Tomb
We always
Raider?
go. That's fine. Yeah, Tomb Raider. I just beat the hell out of Tomb Raider. I beat the shit out of Tomb Raider.
Yeah, that's
Did everything I could in that game, and then and I saved it till the end too. I didn't finish the last mission until I completed everything. So it was cool playing it that way. But regardless, there's too many games to play. But if you're into Uncharted, then that's cool. Played Uncharted. I just think there's too many games right now. I don't think people should Uncharted 4 is gonna go down in history as one of the best cinematic experiences in video games ever, and also one of the best video games in terms of storytelling and presentation ever, right? And I think it's going to be on a lot of lists in the future where it's top must-play games on PS4, top must-play games in the last decade when we look back on it now. But there's going to be other games on that list too, and I think if you're into these type of third-person, very pulpy action, very awesome storytelling games, and you should play it. But
This
for
defined
me,
that genre.
exactly.
Yeah,
It's defined that. It started with old school games like Crash Bandicoot, right, where you're kind of in this jungle setting and you're kind of a mascot character, cartoon mascot character, and then
Crash Bandicoot is Nathan Drake.
Holy shit.
and then
The
you have
evolution of man.
yeah, and then you have
The
Tomb
missing
Raider,
link.
and then you have Uncharted. So it's all really cool. But no, I don't think I'll play it. Even when I do get a PS4, I'm mainly gonna play stuff like Horizon Zero Dawn, which is completely new, and I like Guerrilla. They're good. They're a good developer.
Speaking of Gorilla,
Hey.
there, yeah.
I think I do want to go
There
back
you
and
went.
play Overwatch soon.
I think
But,
at this
yeah,
point,
I'm gonna play some tonight.
we're probably gonna wrap
I mean-
this cast up. I mean, honestly, what
The
else do you guys want to
2-hour
say?
cast.
Yeah.
I mean, Uncharted 4, the whole thing. People were saying. I know. I was just listening to you guys now, but about the Last of Us sort of Easter egg. There's no way. That's just like a fun nod, right?
Yeah.
Like, that was,
Yeah, I know.
No, no, yeah,
that's,
yeah.
There's no
I'm aware of
way.
this.
That'd be cool though.
Cassie's like Ellie.
I love the idea that
Cassie,
people
yeah.
thought the door was going to open up and it was going to be like a zombie, like a clicker or something like that, or whatever they're
That'd be
called.
fucking crazy. That'd be really cool. No, I think like I'm excited to see what Naughty Dog does after The Last of Us 2, right? Like because they're not gonna, they're not gonna like you guys said, they're not gonna go back to Uncharted 4 ever. I think, and then Last of Us. You know, they're going to do a Last of Us 2, then they might do another IP, and I'm excited for whatever that new one is. Do you think they're just going to stay with, like, these very realistic types of games, or do you see them going towards more of, like, a artistic... That'd be cool if they made, like, an artistic kind of very, like, not realism, you know, realistic game.
Has anyone toyed with the filters in Uncharted 4?
Oh, yeah, there's
Yeah,
that. There's,
actually,
like,
I haven't, but I've
those are
seen
cool.
that.
There's
Pixel one's
one
really cool.
Yeah, there's one that
rainbow
actually
one.
makes the game look like a comic book, and it actually is really
I haven't
nice
tried that
looking.
one.
It,
Huh.
yeah, it's
Cool.
it's really cool.
I want to try that. Actually, you have Ben-Day dots all over everything.
Well, not like that kind of like old stuff comic, but I meant like the cell shaded, like it looks drawn sort of deal. Yeah.
I'd be drawn to that.
They got rid of Fat Drake. I'm still sad about that.
That,
Donut
me-
Drake.
Hey, we have to settle for Dad Bod Drake.
my friend
Dad bod.
my friend and I had that conversation. Wasn't that kind of like a
It's politically
micro...
correct move.
Yeah, like a micro controversy kind of thing going on where it's
Yeah.
like, I know what it is. I mean, like if you listen to this far, then you probably understand what
You
it is
haven't.
too. But
Let's be
yeah,
real,
I mean,
no one has.
Yeah.
You all stopped
they
right
might
after I
have.
made that.
People love Uncharted, dude. Like our old Uncharted thing about how we compared. We talked about Nadine
controversy.
being Laura. That one like jumped up because
A bit, yeah.
Uncharted. You know, people just love Uncharted. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's
now,
why it feels like with this game they didn't chart. Uncharted's never felt like a series, right? Where they
I was just going to talk about this too.
yeah, Uncharted's never felt like a series where they were like charting new ground necessarily. I don't think you were going to talk. Were you talking about that, Billy?
No, actually, I thought you were going to talk about like the actual sales charts. We keep punting it. We keep punting it up, but no. But
Well,
continue, and then I'll talk about.
yeah, I mean, when it comes to Uncharted, like I guess my final thoughts on like Uncharted as a series, since like this is our last one, it is kind of heartbreaking for me because this is what ushered in my return to video games in a lot of way, like where I went full frontal. Because back in the day, I played
Full
GameCube.
frontal.
Full frontal. I watched too much Gundam Unicorn.
Hardcore Hayden.
Hardcore Hayden. There you go.
Hardcore Hayden. Oh man,
Let's
that's
make
going to
that
be a YouTube
sequel
show.
to Hardcore Henry. There you go.
Yep.
Oh, man.
We'll just put a GoPro on your head, and you just got to do like cool action.
Not on your head, in your
It's
head.
really boring.
2
Just my
episodes and
daily
he's gonna
life.
die.
Half
Just
of it
like
will be me
Anila
asleep.
half the time, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be like there's Steven talking in Chinese, and it's like, shut up,
Kissing
Steven.
girls and other things.
And you're eating a lot of
Dude, you're just
sandwiches.
watching?
And just you and sandwiches are disappearing.
You're
like,
gonna
just
see
like,
just Ikes
bring it
right
in.
here, like everywhere.
Exactly.
Just the gator.
You're gonna hear like a vacuum noise.
No, I don't do
Yeah.
that.
Wow, slurp.
No? You don't slurp your sandwiches?
But no, for Uncharted, I was just gonna say like it's never felt like a series that's necessarily been one that charted unknown territory in terms of video games, but only in in terms of gameplay mechanics. But I think what it has done is that it's taken all of the things that video games and what they've done in their history as a development studio with action games and like Crash Bandicoot, obviously with having these cool set pieces, having characters eventually develop in Jack, and now finally with 4, we saw this maturation all the way to The Last of Us as well.
Yeah.
Where these characters are actually fully fleshed characters. They're fully fleshed people, and it's in the best and worst way possible. Where it's sad to say goodbye to these characters, right? Like,
Yeah.
I was kind of like choked up when when the credits started rolling. It's like I'm never gonna have this experience again with these characters in this world. Maybe one day, maybe we will. Maybe Naughty Dog will come back one day, but not for a long time.
I'm
know.
happy with the way they left it. I really am.
Yeah,
I'm very happy.
it's
But-
it's so perfect.
So the thing about Uncharted, so this, what was this, May 23rd? Today's the 23rd? No, yesterday was the 23rd. Today's the 24th. Yesterday they came out on the PlayStation blog saying that the first week of Uncharted 4, they sold 2.7 million units in global sales.
Yeah.
And that includes worldwide sell-through for both Blu-ray and digital sales as of May 16th. So over 2.7 digital and at retail, which is pretty cool. And that's the fastest selling Uncharted for sure. But Hayden, do you think? I actually want to ask you because you seem just crazy, kind of passionate about this. But like, do you think there's a lot of bandwagoners here? Like lots of bandwagoners, and they're like, "Oh, Uncharted 4, I'm gonna play this game without playing any of the other ones."
I mean,
Is that a
was gonna say,
problem?
I feel like no, it's never a problem. I joined a lot of games. I joined Uncharted with Uncharted 2, so I guess I'm a bandwagoner as well. Here's my story with Uncharted. I bought my PS3 for a graduation gift from middle school for 8th grade. And I bought Infamous, and Infamous came with this little flyer for Uncharted. I had no fucking clue what Uncharted was. I was like, okay, let's try the beta. Put in the beta, I play the beta, and I'm like, this is incredible. It was a fun multiplayer experience. So my taste of Uncharted was with the multiplayer. Then I got the game, and I had no idea what I was expecting in terms of story, narrative, and I was blown away. So you can just imagine that experience of going into something like that blind and into Uncharted 2, and that's how it was for me. So, no, I mean, yeah, sure, there's bandwagoners, but who cares? Like, honestly, just play this game. I'd rather people play this game right now than say like, oh, I'm not gonna play because I have to play 4 other games.
Yeah, because I don't like the narrative of like, oh, you only played 4? Well, then you're not a real fan. It's like, stop with that bullshit. There's more people enjoying something that you really like. Why not? It's the
I
whole,
think it would be hard to not play the other ones though, and play this
I
one and
agree.
still have the
Well,
same enjoyment.
Naughty Dog tried to remedy that by releasing the Uncharted collection, some months before, because they wanted people to kind of like, oh, look, we have this incredible series. There's this sequel coming out. So
Yeah.
And as much as like the critical acclaim of Last of Us gets, I still think Uncharted is their premier crowning achievement at Naughty Dog. Like
Uncharted in general or Uncharted 4?
Uncharted 4 and 2. I still like Last of Us was good, but I think that game in a lot of ways it's not overrated, but I think it's like given too much of a like precedence because it's something mature and gritty and all like just really dark, and I think it's fantastic.
People
for what it
love
was,
that
but,
shit.
Well, how often do we get something that's so tropey but also excellent in crowning, like making new ground and all? I just love the universe of Uncharted. Just
Well,
how
let me
well
just
it
ask you
is.
really quick. Did you like The Last of Us or Uncharted 4 better?
Oh, that's hard. I think Uncharted 4, but in a vacuum, Last of Us probably. With like if somehow Uncharted 4 was its own game and they were trying to like expect us to like have these connections with these characters,
Well, yeah.
that ruins it obviously. But
When
yeah.
do you visit vacuums, Hayden? That's very odd.
I mean,
He
Dice is
just
my
got a
best friend.
part-time job.
All right, guys, I'm actually really tired.
He works for Kirby.
let's
All
wrap
right.
this up.
No,
Went
it's time.
way too fucking long. And
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock.
a
We have to
thief's
go watch
end.
The Flash.
we started at 8. Yeah, exactly. I need to watch The Flash. It's
I'm
a,
gonna go
it's a
play
bodily
Gundam Breaker
function.
3. I'm gonna go
I'm gonna
play
watch
Last
The
Blade right
Flash.
now.
I was having a conversation with one of our viewers
here?
while you guys were talking about Uncharted. They were, and then they're gone now because I told them to fuck off.
Go.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's how we
they're
do it
like,
here.
Dolphin,
They're like,
goodbye.
they asked like, what game are they talking about? And I was like, they're talking about Uncharted 4, and we just spoiled everything for you. I didn't put spoiler
Guys
warnings
at
in
the
this
end.
cast. It's fine.
That's fine.
Don't watch
Cut that
that
out
except
with
that
the
one
Jessica
person.
Jones stuff. You have quite a few things to cut back.
There's a lot. I mean,
So,
yeah, there's a lot of stuff to cut. I mean, I retold Uncharted 4 in great detail. I think
As
I
much
did
as
a
I enjoyed that,
fantastic
please
job.
do not put it with the actual cast.
right.
It's gonna be like a 3-hour long thing. Anyways, cool. That was easy mold. It's getting moldy. Easy mode ultra episode 39. That's the most realizable podcast on the internet. You can
very
catch us
long.
on iTunes. You can catch us on
iTunes.
Google Play. You can trade all your Steam cards with me on Steam as well. I've been collecting a lot of Steam trading cards. Cool. You can follow me at Twitter at BillyBite, but with 2 Y's. You can
Billy
follow
Bite.
Hayden at Hayden Robel on Twitter.
Send me some Gunpla pictures of your Gundam Breaker 3.
You can follow the best hair in the business. That's Koki_sorta. That's
I'll
Furman.
give you free shit too if you want.
There you go. And then you can follow me, Maestro, the Gift Master,
Oh, God.
Captain.
No, the gift gigolo.
The gift that makes it that automatically makes it sexual, and that's weird.
No. He's giving out.
I will
gifts to us.
captivate you with
He's
my
pimping
gifts.
out these gifts, you know.
Exactly. All right.
There you go.
Cool. That's Dan. You can follow Daniel at Matsumi_. Wait, no. It's Matsumi
07.
07.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That with the underscores
It's
for
late.
Koki.
Yeah, let's
It's
go
late.
home.
It's 10.
I'm gonna go play Overwatch. So.
There you go.
I'm gonna watch
play
the
Last
last
Blade
Blade
Flash.
It's better than Nino Kuni.
Cool. Thank you everyone for watching. Please leave a comment. We're gonna give you things, and they'll be somewhere in the video when I'll put footage of it.
Hey,
wherever.
we'll give you his body. Let's go.
No.
All right. Cool. Thanks everybody. Say bye,
All right.
for Furman.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye, Furman.
Goodbye.
Good night.
Goodbye.
Hold the door.